Be'ezras Hashem Yisbarach. Yom Rishon Parshas Behar. Shnas Tavshin Ayin Vov. Yeshiva Tiferes Avigdor. Parshas Behar begins with the mitzvah of SHLITA. There's a whole masechta on this mitzvah. Baruch Hashem, it's a masechta, it's a mitzvah that of late, due to the encouragement of the Gdolim, has seen a resurgence. This mitzvah has been pushed to the forefront of the consciousness of farmers in Eretz Yisroel, to people in Eretz Yisroel, and to the people in the Golos, to participate in a partnership to encourage the mitzvah. And the tendency is that a person thinks, I'm not living in Eretz Yisroel where the mitzvah applies, and I'm not a farmer type, and therefore we tend to ignore or allow the lessons, the dinim of this mitzvah to recede into the background. Now, Kadosh Baruch Hu definitely put this in his Torah, and it's a very important mitzvah. Vayidaber Hashem el Moshe b'Har Sinai lemor. And Hashem said to Moshe b'Har Sinai lemor, Daber al b'nei Yisroel, v'amarta li, ki sovoyu el ha'aretz, when you come to the land, asher ani lo'isei lochem, v'shavsa ha'aretz, Shabbos LaHashem. Now, if you notice that when HaKadosh Baruch Hu commanded us in this mitzvah, he said, tell the Bnei Yisrael, not simply Kisavoyu El Haaretz, which seemingly would have been enough. That would have been sufficient. But rather, he told us that Kisavoyu La'aretz Asher Ani Noisein Livneichem, Asher Ani Noisein Lachem, which I am giving to you. So those extra words are the key to understanding this parsha. It doesn't say, it says HaKadosh Baruch Hu, doesn't say that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will give to you, or that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave to you. It says that which HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives to you. It's what Noisein means. The Pasuk says, V'hoisa Shabbos, and Pasuk Vav, V'hoisa Shabbos ha'aretz lochem. The Shabbos ha'aretz should be for you. What does that mean? It should be for you. It's the Shabbos ha'aretz LaHashem. In the earlier pasuk it says, "V'Shabbos ha'aretz Shabbos LaHashem," and here it says, "V'Hoisa Shabbos ha'aretz lochem," for you, la'achlu. So Rashi says, "Afal pi she'osartim olech," even though I forbade you to do many things with your land and work the land on this year, like siktzar, like sivtzar, but loy ba'achila v'loy b'hana asarti. I did not forbid you to eat, or I did not forbid you to derive benefit. Hana. Rashi says, Ella shaloi tinoik bohem kebal habayis. I don't want you to conduct yourself like a bal habayis. Ella hakoil yiyu shavim ba. Everybody should be equal in this mitzvah. I want everybody to be equal in the ownership of the produce. It's hefker. The Gemara in Sanhedrin, Daf Lamed Tes, asks that a Talmud asked Rabbi Abuhu, why was HaKadosh Baruch Hu mitzaveh al HaShlita? Why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu command us on Shemitah? Amar lo, he said to him, HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to Klal Yisroel, plant for 6 years and rest on the 7th, in order that you should know She'ha'aretz shalihu, that the Aretz is mine. Now, that is a very important lesson. In human nature, the Mishnah tells us in Avigdor, the midos of a person influences a person's perspective and how he views his relationship with things. There's a concept of someone saying, Sheli is Sheli. What's mine is mine. That's what the person says. That's what the person believes, that's how the person. There is some person that believes that what's yours is mine too. Now, the nature of a person means the whole psychology of the way a person relates to things. Sometimes you have something that's yours and you put extra value on it. It really has no value. But to you it's sentimental. Sometimes the fact that you acquire something is alone contributes to the sentimental feeling that a person has to something. If you see a kid gets up, sometimes a kid wants to have something and it has no use for it. Just had a kid, grandson of mine, who wanted to have a popsicle. I said, you don't like the popsicle? No, I wanted it. He was fighting and fighting and fighting. The father was, okay, here's the popsicle. And he was eating it and he was struggling with it very much. And I saw he wasn't enjoying it. And then it had some coconut pieces in it. What are these things, Amy? And he started picking them out. I said, it's full of those pieces. I said, maybe you want to give it to me? I said, give it to me. I said, you don't need it. You don't want it. No, Zay, I'm not giving it to you. I want it. And then, then I said, maybe you want a piece of challah. And he said, okay. He took the challah and he put the popsicle down. I said, can I have it now? He thought about it and said, soon. That's the midah of a person when he has something, he wants something. Sometimes even a thing is not his. And you see something that somebody else has and you think you want it, or you acquire something and you relate to it like it's pashut, your zachin has a tremendous chashivas, even if that has no value to you. That's what mentions. A mensch is a collector. There are some people that are hoarders. People that hoard things, certain people, a certain person, family, you go into their homes, their entire home, and I mean it, their entire home is lined with bags of stuff that they hoard. They don't throw out. Paper, they never throw out. A newspaper, they never throw out. A flyer, they never throw out. Maybe it'll come to you sometime. That's the kid with the popsicle. That's the extreme SHLITA. If they give up their garbage, their papers that have absolutely no use and no value, and Parsha feel like they're cutting off a shtick zich. That's what they're doing. You can't live there. HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't want us to have that attachment with anything. He wants us to note that everything that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has, gave us, and there are people, I'll give you another example. You ever see people who collect stamps? You know, there's people that have their Zadie's stamp collections. And I've asked, what do you plan it's going to go up in value? Now, do you know anybody who ever made $1 million from selling stamps? I don't. You ever made $100,000 from selling stamps? I don't. I know my family, we have a couple of gold coins that probably the great-great-grandchildren will keep on going down. Who knows what's the purpose of it? But you just have it, and you have this thing in your mind that someday, it's mamish that pops it. Your attachment to it is of such value. And if somebody would negate it, the guy said, well, why would I have to sell it? I said, because you need money now. If you need money, why don't you sell it? But that doesn't make sense. Yeah, but the guy starts to imagine, you know what this is? This is rare. I said, you know anything about rare coins? I don't remember. People keep coins in their drawer, nickels, and they come and steal them out of their drawers, and they use them up. It's garbage. People don't realize it's the connection that they'll never use this zach. People collect money. People collect houses. People collect things that they were impressed or that they heard that have a value, and they'll never have any hana from it kihus. So the lesson of Shemitah is HaKadosh Baruch Hu first wants you to know that every single thing that you have is His. Sheli is Shalcha. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to know that what I have is really yours. A person is supposed to look at everything that he has, HaKadosh Baruch Hu put into his possession for his. It's like a guy lends you a house. That's what it's like. He lends you something. He puts it at your disposal. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave the world to people. Va'oretz nosar livnei adam. And people think now that they're the boss. That's what people think. Hashem allowed us to have some kinyan, some acquisition in this earth. But Hashem put the kinyan at our disposal so that we can derive benefit from it, enhance our lives to serve Hashem. And there are many Tiferes that come from this earth. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, once in 7 years, I want you to rest. I don't want you to be noying and conduct yourself like a Baal Habayis. Rest from your work, because I want you to acknowledge that I need noysein lochem es ha'aretz. I'm giving it to you. That's what the midah is. Sheli is shalcha. A person in that year is makneh to Hashem Yisbarach all his kinyanim in this earth. Now a person has to realize that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to feel like we're renting the property from him. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to feel. And if a person feels like that, then a person comes to an awareness that he has it, and then HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives it to him. Now, at the same time that Va'oratz Nosa Livnei Adam, we have to remember that La Hashem is Ha'oretz U'Maloya. That's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to realize. Now, it's such an important relationship that a person has to have with his nechasim and with his things, because if not, what ends up happening, the person loses it. The Gemara says, what is the punishment for not observing Shemitah? Torah tells us the punishment for not observing Shemitah is that you're sent into Golus. So, it's the same concept of Yovel every 50th year, in order to teach us, as the Klei Yoker says, Ki la Hashem ha'oretz u'Maloya. And that you're not a balabayis. You have to release slaves in the Yovel year. And the whole Yisroel is, when a person has a relationship with his nechasim, that's an unhealthy relationship, the result is that the person cannot do a lot of mitzvahs. Because there are people, hoarders, can't spend money on doing chesed. Look at people who are struggling. There are many people that I know that work, and al pi seichel, they should have money. And I always wonder, why don't they have money? A lot of times the reason is because these people grow up with a mindset that Shali is Shali. And whatever they have is theirs. And they're not going to give it out to anybody. They're not going to share it with anybody. And I tell people who have struggled, have you ever considered, when you were younger, did you have a difficult time in sharing your toys or your games with others? Think about it. Are you a kind of fellow who found it easy to let somebody drive your bicycle? You have to ask yourself that question. You look into yourself. That kind of person grows up, it's frum, maybe he's even a ben Torah. And you're wondering, why can't the guy share? Why does the guy struggle? Because the fellow doesn't acknowledge for himself that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the boss of everything. He can't. That's where his struggle lies. I once knew a person who was extreme in his inability to share. He was so extreme, he couldn't even share with his own family. Literally. He would tell his wife that he has absolutely no money. He had money. He kept her in the dark, and she had absolutely no idea what he had and what he didn't have. And as a result, they lived very tight, and she would call me from time to time and tell me how serious and difficult the matzav is. And I would explain to the guy, what are you doing? I told his wife, your husband doesn't missing any money. I know it. I'm close to your husband. He doesn't lack any money. Doesn't lack any money. And then what happens? The guy comes to me and says, why do you come if I'm not missing any money? I said, because you're not. He said, I'm saving. I said, what are you saving for? He said, I'm saving for two things. Number one, to buy a home. And number two, I'm saving for a rainy day. I'm saving for a rainy day. So I told the guy, listen, in your family, it's raining very heavily at present. You remind me of the guy who's walking around in a rainstorm, a pouring rain, with an umbrella. But the umbrella is not open, he's holding it in his hand. And somebody asked him, what are you doing? You got an umbrella, why don't you open it up? He says, I'm waiting for a rainy day. Now I could live through this rain. But the next rain may be harder. What's going to be if I open up my umbrella now, and the rain comes down, and all of a sudden, my umbrella won't be good anymore for the next rainstorm. It may get windy, it may get this, it will turn upside down. You never heard of such a thing? If it's raining right now, you're supposed to use an umbrella right now. That's what the purpose is. And this fellow, I said, you ever wonder why you don't have a home? It's not because of lack of funds. He wanted a certain type of home, a money-making home. We had all kind of funny conditions yet. But I explained to the guy that you don't understand the point. Hashem is giving this money to you, and you're killing yourself. He would tell his wife, who was a regular person, to buy clothes in second-hand stores. He would encourage you to do that. And the thing that broke the camel's back was, his wife once found a receipt for a pair of shoes that he bought. She had told him she needs shoes. And she went and bought shoes, and he told her not to spend more than $15 on the shoes. One of these Payless stores. And then she found the receipt that he spent $200 on his own shoe. And that would send her over the top. And she asked me, am I wrong? I said, no, you're 100% right. I understand you. It's not fair. The Gemara says, it's not a give you equal thing. So I called him in and I asked him, so what's the pshat? I said, shoes, feet are very important thing. And he gave me a whole sheer about how cheap shoes mess up your feet. So I said, how come you're not concerned about your wife's feet? I said, just like you don't have a home, you're not going to have a wife's feet. And he thought it was a joke. Eventually, his wife threw him out of the house. And he thought she could never live without him. But she started working on the side and squirreling away her own money and putting her own life in order. She went to school, she got herself a shtickle job, and she started supporting herself. And then it came time to marry off his children. And he said he wasn't going to participate. The wife called me up, what should you do? I said, tell him he doesn't have to participate. But you're not putting his name on the invitation, and he's not welcome to the chasna. And I said, if he has a problem with that, tell him that was my suggestion. Dad came to my house furious. The guy was mamish daggers. I said, I'm sorry, but I'm not one of you in the chasna. I'm not your wife. I was your Rebbe. I said, but I'm not your wife. I'm very sorry. I said, to participate in a wedding, that's a big schus. But there's responsibilities. If you don't feed your family, you can't have nachas from your family. If you don't act responsibly when it comes to marrying off your child, why should you have a right to participate in the wedding? I said, your child doesn't want you there. Your wife doesn't want you there. So generally a person says, I'm the father, I'm entitled. I pay for the wedding. Well, have a schus. I said, but you didn't pay for the wedding. So you know what? You can't enjoy the wedding. It took a couple of years of being separated from his family, and finally the fellow came to his senses. And he came to me and said, you think this could work? I told his wife, what are you doing to yourself? You're killing yourself too, you don't have a husband. I told her, Itaka don't have a husband. Itaka had a very weird thinking husband, but at least it was a husband. You had something from him. What do you have now? Your life can't be better now, living in limbo, and you get divorced and you're going to get married right away. Who says the next one's going to be better? So I would suggest that you consider taking him back. And I told this guy after a number of meetings with him that you have to change your entire attitude. Forget about yourself and think about your family. That's what you have to do. Over and over and over again. He kept the heat at 58, middle of the winter, and everybody should wear sweaters. That's done. And he couldn't figure out why his bills were zero, because I told his wife, as soon as he leaves the house, jack the heat up to 80, so when he comes home, you lower it down to 58, and he'll say, why is he how warm it is in here? and the warmth will continue for a while after he comes home. But it took the guy some seichel. Finally he got some seichel. And the guy started, HaKadosh Baruch Hu was mizaki. And I told him, it's not yours. HaKadosh Baruch Hu has a policy. He said, if I give you things and you misuse them, and you're a shali person, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, that's a wrong attitude, because it's not yours. HaKadosh Baruch Hu put it at your disposal for yourself, and for your wife, and for your children. I don't say you have to spoil them, but you have to provide for them. Many times people, just today, I'm talking to a fellow, we have a couple of years now, off and on, and he has a child that's older daughter, and struggling with a shidduch. He has one older daughter, two older daughters, another one coming up, and they're very nervous. Normal, wonderful, everything shtims. Intelligent, good looking, good job, all Sachen. So the parent told me, maybe it's my problem. Maybe I'm the cause here. I said, if you have 3 kids like that's struggling, maybe it is. You have anybody married? One person's married. I said, isn't there anybody that has tinus on you? Somebody must have tinus on you. He said, yes. My first child got married, and we zugged to a certain amount of years. But before half the time passed, we stopped. He said, we killed him. And the other side was very upset. The chassan was a very nice fellow. He said, don't worry about it, I understand that you can't do it, this and that. But the other side was very upset, to say the least. Then they want to know why every time you get a shidduch, in the resume you write who your mechutanim are. To me, I'm amazed that some people, the way they conduct themselves, when somebody called me, I'm going to have a hard time. What am I going to say about that? Somebody calls me, what kind of mechutanim are these? Are they honest? Are they giving? Oh, they have great hearts. Hearts are in the right place. It's just the hands and the pockets that they struggle with. You understand? You figure. You made a commitment. That somebody once called me, I can't afford it anymore. I said, you pay electric bills? Is there food in your house? If I open your refrigerator, it's going to be empty? No, that's part of your responsibility. You can't afford it. See, people have this viewpoint that Hashem is giving, they don't have that Hashem gave them money in order to support and feed their families and to help their children learn. So how come you can go on a vacation? You have money for Eretz Yisroel. I know people who have no money, but they go to Eretz Yisrael. Are they old Dan's deals, getting steals? Somehow, I don't think so. They're going at hard periods of time for that to have money. But for their son-in-law, you know what it costs to go to Eretz Yisrael with a family? It's not $500. My grandfather once told my oldest daughter when she was 14, she called him up, I called Eretz Yisrael. You know what he said? Absolutely not. He said, put your money, how much is it going to cost you? He said, $1,000. Isaiah said, put the money in the bank, that's 1 more month in cut. That's 1 more month in cut, don't even think about it. That's called responsibility. That girl says, no, I don't want that. I don't want to do that. Let's see. The lesson of Shemitah is you want to lose your house, you want to go into Golas, shali. You want to maintain what you have, you want HaKadosh Baruch Hu to shower you with more brachas. Remember, shali, what I have, shalcha is Hashem. Always remember it comes to you from Hashem. And always remember that if you use what you have responsibly, you won't have a problem. A person who understands that his land belongs to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu was letting him farm it for the next 6 years. And now HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes to him and says, the 7th year, remember, it's my land. Of course, Hashem, of course. Okay, the next year, remind yourself that it's your land. The next year, you can hold on to the property, but all the produce belongs to everybody. It's hefker lakoy. Shaloi tinig behem kibal habayis. Kidei sheteidu sheha'oret shalihu. And if a person knows that Hashem said, I will be mitzvah all my brachas, I guarantee you won't lose a thing from living responsibly. I guarantee, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, you won't lose a thing, you won't laugh at it. You may be complaining, but you're a complainer. That's all. But you have to get over your perspective and your ashkafa of shali is shali. And certainly, if you think the other people things are also shali.